ask our pastor from the Perry Church of the Nazarene to come forward and bring our invocation. Thank you.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and the new opportunities that it provides for us. We thank you for these council members, for their heart to serve their community. Thank you for their experiences, their education, the things that you have given them, their passions and their gifts, and the way that they are using them to serve in this community, Father. We thank you for their families and ask for your blessings to be poured out on them for the sacrifices that they make as they serve. And we pray that you would go before them in this meeting, in their service throughout the year, that you would go before them and that you would equip them with a heart to serve and guide their minds and their hearts and their thoughts as they seek to serve this community, Father. We thank you for them and we ask that you would be with them. And we pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. We're at 7 o'clock. Can I ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Shirley, would you? And then would you take roll call?
Mayor Hammond?
Here.
Mindy Gumby? Here. Doug Porter?
Here.
Mike Carnell?
Here.
Malgazzi?
Here.
Larry Lambert?
Here.
Kristen Beable?
Here. Looking for approval of our agenda for tonight.
I move that we adopt the agenda as printed.
We have a motion from Kamal, seconded by Mindy. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. And now looking for approval and reading of our council minutes from our previous meeting of June 5th.
I move that we suspend the rules, waive the reading, and approve the minutes from June 5th, 2025, regular meeting.
Second.
We have a motion from Kamal, seconded by Larry. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. We do have pre-approved report tonight from our Shiawassee County Commissioner, Matthew Shepard. Matthew, if you'd like to step to the podium for us, please.
Ask bear with me, I've been a little under the weather myself, I don't know, bronchitis or whatever. And if you're not all aware, last month's commissioner meeting, they approved the sheriff's bid to give everything to towing of All-Star with much debate. This month, we approved, they're going to be reopening the kennel and housing it with pets that are rescued or whatever. Instead of having to go clear up to Saginaw to retrieve your pet, you'll be able to get it right here in the county. It'll be staffed by volunteers. And they are asking for donations. We did approve maintenance upgrade of the building and site. Perrin is going to provide the labor at no cost. And I put a fence around the property for the dogs. I made a suggestion that they check with Morris because they just pulled their basketball court out and the fencing there. I don't know what they plan to use that for. But, anything else of importance? I talked to Dr. Kamal earlier, said he should have been put on the Board of Health, or not Board of Health, Mental Health. But he does have another opportunity to, as long as he proceeds with applying for it next time. I think that the opening is probably in July. Any questions for me?
Anyone have any questions for council?
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
And what do you need?
Newsletters.
Any public comment? Moving on to communications. Shirley?
Just a reminder of the summer market at the McQueen House. The next one's July 19th, and 12th. Summer Fun Night, July 16th from 6 to 8. Here at City Hall. I did hand out one thing in your packet. It's for agenda item number 3. And I just want to throw this out there, a few things. I did get the new monthly May report from BlackRock. You guys can just look at it instead of me reading it. But I did get a hold of Dan from Waste Management. He's our, the truck boss, the contact that we have, and asked him about the fall cleanup, and he spoke to Jill up there. And since we have 6 cans left, he said that's fine.
Okay.
So we just need to, I don't know, agenda item for another time to decide when you guys want to do that in the fall. The other thing is I did receive an email from the state of Michigan regarding the local routes application. So they did submit their application with the state, and then that was last week. And then this week, Monday, I received the letter saying that it was approved. Some more information about that is that John Liskey called me and he wants to open the facility up for any council members, staff members, planning commission members who wants to come and visit before they get it stocked. He's going to throw out a couple days. Not everybody does not have to go together, but he's going to throw out a couple days and maybe people can group up and go visit, and if they want to. The other thing is they're planning on opening July 1st. However, if they don't open July 1st, they'll wait till after the 4th of July weekend and open on Monday, July 7th. He will keep me posted. The other thing is he sent me this flyer. I should have made everybody a copy, but he sent me this flyer and for a gym. So they're looking for someone to possibly put in a gym, so you guys can look at that too.
In the other
Yeah,
part of the
remember that
building?
was a suggestion?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I think that's all that I have.
It is.
Thank you, Shirley. Mayor reports is next on the agenda. I just want to report that all of our city employees' yearly evaluations have been completed. And most everybody got a stellar report. We have terrific employees here. They do a wonderful job. Do we have any committee reports to come out tonight? No? Looking then for presentation and approval of the bills.
I move to approve the bills as presented and payment be authorized.
Second.
We have a motion from Larry, seconded by Kamal. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Can I keep this? We don't have any items under old business. Under new business, let us have discussion in regard to Rockfish fundraising. The representative from that business came to our meeting last month and presented some information. We asked him for more information, and I think all of you got quite a few pages of stuff. But There seems to be two parts to this really. One is that they're asking for city council to recognize them as a 501c3. That is typically done so that people know the government is aware that they're a nonprofit working in the city. And we have done that for others, like the Historical Society. You mentioned somebody else. Oh, the band boosters, that's right. I remember now when they came. So they're asking for that, but then they're also asking what the process would be for them to be able to put on a fundraising event. And we don't really have a application for that yet. So at the last meeting, we asked Shirley to kind of work on that.
I'm
Where
working
are
on
you
that.
at with that? You're working on it?
I'm working on it, yeah, so I have the application, I think, pretty much complete, and then I just wanted to read through some other documents, I
Yes,
just haven't had
right.
a chance to, and I just didn't think it didn't have to be done for this meeting,
Yeah.
so.
They had really wanted, when he was here, to try to do something yet this summer. I think that's impossible, but anyway.
Ambitious.
Yeah, ambitious, that's a better word, Mike, thank you. Let's have discussion. What do you guys have questions about, or what do we need to get more from him, or find out more from him, or let's hear from you guys about this.
I'd like to see a business plan or some, what's your objective here? What organization are you trying to help support? When he was in, no disrespect to him, but when he was in, he just kind of, here's some ideas, but really didn't have anything solidified that he wanted the city to participate or to support. And without that, I'm just kind of lost in terms of just saying, sure, come on in.
Is that something that you'd like Shirley to include in the application? A request for a business plan?
I think it should
When
be.
they apply for a permit to do this?
Yeah,
That's
like
what you're
that
saying?
too, I mean,
Yeah.
daytime location, and then where the funds go.
Yeah, what are they supporting? What are we inviting into our city to support?
I don't think he knows.
Right, and I was
I don't
very
think he knows.
confused when he was talking, so.
That takes me back, Bob, to the reason why I say it needs to be a business plan that says what's his objective, who's he trying to serve, and
Right,
what does he want to try to accomplish?
Right.
Because no disrespect to the thank yous that he got, but all of them were out of state and, not related to anything that we've got within the city or the school or anything here.
Yeah, I'd agree, those would be my concerns too.
And I guess I have one question, right? If someone wants to put in a party, because that's what it boils down to, right? He said he's gonna do it at the village, the country market.
yes, and the property that they don't own.
Why do we have to be
Yeah,
involved?
exactly.
Well, I think he just wanted the city to,
Support it.
support, not sponsor or anything like
What
this,
does
just support.
support
Say,
means? What does?
meaning we're okay with him having a carnival there, and so there's lots of things, they're gonna bring a carnival, we need to see whoever that carnival was, I know he had a name, and I don't
Arnold.
they have to have their license, they have to be insured, they have to make sure that then, like our application, they have to make, the city an additional insurer and probably even a certificate holder, all those, make sure we're all covered on any kind of liability. Cause I know that property next door in that vacant area is not owned by Village
No.
Fresh.
Yeah.
So, we have to get all that, they have to have a signed lease of some sort, so, wherever they're gonna do it, and,
So again, that would all be information that would have to be submitted to the city with
Yeah,
an
because you're gonna need
application
further
for a
ground, so
permit
they have
to
to be
have
on
the
board.
event. And that's really why the city's involved, to make sure that all of that's in place. We require a permit for a big event like that, to
Mhm.
make sure that everyone is
What are they planning to do
covered.
with parking and,
well, I just thought of another question or process in the application or permit fee
Mhm.
that would require extra police perhaps,
Right, I
and that
had,
would be an additional
yeah.
fee, right?
and
Just
then-
like Detroit, it's much bigger, but Detroit, when they do the fireworks, they bring in more police officers and that kind of stuff, so you know, you plan ahead.
Well, I'm sure like the fair, like the Shiawassee County Fair, they pay.
They bring in more sheriffs, I'm sure they do,
Yeah,
yes.
so, yeah, and that is on there, what extras do you need? So, I kind of copied it.
Yeah, we would want to make
So if
sure
you
that
add
they know
anything,
that they
you can
can't block M52. I mean, they can ask permission to maybe close a portion of a street, of a side street, but M52 is like off limits. And
Yeah.
people would say, well, so-and-so had a breakfast all down their main street. Well, but that wasn't M52. You know, so again, informational reasons, so they know what they can and can't do or expect to do.
What does the fire department have to, do they need to be involved in some way, you know what I mean? They're like a,
You should probably ask Trent too, what if he, you know, if they bring accountable, what would he require
right.
on that side too? That's a good question.
Mhm.
Yeah, we would want to make sure we have that, so we'll need to communicate with Trent.
Yeah, and the general site plan too, you know, you say a carnival,
Mhm.
how many machines is that, how many
Right.
trailers is that, where those all gonna be placed?
Yeah,
They
where-
have to have
where-
some sort of site plan.
Campers, where.
Yeah, where are those people
Because it's not
gonna
big enough
stay?
right there at
Yeah,
that lot,
right.
for
Right.
instance. Mhm.
So housing of
Employees,
workers.
yeah.
Yeah. I would really like to see, or at least hear some reports. He said they did something with Langsburg.
He said he was going to work with Langsburg to see
Oh, was
how
going to work with
he,
Langsburg.
yeah, so he's talked to them and they're gonna,
Okay.
they're gonna guide him along, I guess.
Okay,
So-
well, we can guide him along too, I
And,
guess.
and we can also, I can also call Langsburg and ask them, like, you know what I mean?
I would like you to do
Yeah.
that if you
Mhm.
don't
Yeah.
mind, yeah. I'm very apprehensive for all the reasons you guys have mentioned. I mean, it just seems like it's too.
I don't mind so much the idea of it, it's
No, I
just like
like
we
it.
need to nail down, okay, what exactly are we greenlighting here?
It's not at all solidified at this point in time.
Right.
No, there's, like Sue said, it would, I don't see how it could happen this year because we don't have those
Right.
plans and things in place to, oh, here's an application, here's your permit fee, we're all set. What's the day, you know, it'd have to be however many days in advance and, you know, all those things. And all those things, and the lawyer has to make sure that we're all, everything's
Right.
good and, yeah, there's lots of moving parts.
So far, pretty much everything we've talked about has to do with the information that needs to be submitted with the permit application.
Mhm.
How would you like to proceed in regard to their request to recognize them as a 501(c)(3)?
What are we gonna be recognize them for if they don't have a solid, it's. it
No,
would be-
just the
just
fact that
nonprofit.
they're a nonprofit. And that's what I'm saying. Then the Queen, not the Queen House, the Historical Society, when they became a nonprofit, they had to be recognized by the local municipality. The band boosters had to be recognized by the local municipality before they did anything as a nonprofit. And so that is what he's asking for there, is just for the city to recognize them as a nonprofit. So he's submitted their approval from the IRS as a nonprofit.
Mhm. And I have that, if you guys wanna see that. I have copies for everybody, if everybody wants one.
Yeah, why don't we hand that out? And again, we don't have to do it tonight, but just so
Does
you.
it say on that licensing, it's not licensed, but the approval from the IRS, what his
It says 501(c).
It says 501.
purpose is? Because you have to tell to get a 501(c)(3), you have to have a purpose or, you know, that there's a, what are you doing?
And the reporting responsibilities that have to be
All those
met.
things, right.
Yeah, so I'd like to see something before we, you know, recognize it.
Because
What
none
was
of
in the
this
packet
stuff,
was from 2015, 10 years ago, and in what he provided, he said that they've gone dormant for a period of time. So some evidence that they're still recognized as a,
Well,
Oh,
I did pull up some
I did get that to you. I
information
did get that to
in
you. I'm
regard
sorry.
to that.
yeah, there was one in this
Yeah, I
packet.
didn't, I forgot that I gave that to you, I'm sorry.
It does say, how long is a 501c3 good for? And it's a tax exempt status that removes tax obligations, and it is good in forever. Once you're approved, you're good.
Okay, I thought there had to be some reporting.
The state of
requirements to
Michigan,
get that.
though, you have to renew it. If you don't file for so many years, they basically dissolve it.
It doesn't say that here. What state level requirements vary, so maybe that's
I-
what
I-
they're talking about.
I know that one firsthand.
While federal tax exempt status does not need renewal, certain states may require periodic filings. So I guess we would have to get that from him before we can,
Yeah, I can just look that up on
Recognize it.
the,
yeah.
It says he's classified as either public charity or private foundations.
Yeah, it's a classification for the
Yeah.
501c3.
Mhm.
But he had to, when he applied for this, we had to give them,
The reason,
yeah, it's like, what is our purpose to do this? What is our, basically, our goal, the goal of this organization, what were they doing? And if he can produce X, it's not on here.
I wish if he would have came and he'd have said, you know what, this is what I wanna do, this is the plan, this is, like there was no.
It was very vague.
Ah, we can do this, or we can do this. He's a nice guy, but he doesn't have a solid plan.
Yes.
Well, again, please recognize the difference between the two things.
Mhm.
He doesn't need a solid plan to be approved as a 501c3. He
Yes,
does not.
yes.
So we want Shirley to get some more information regarding their status, and then we can discuss that again. But the other items that we've listed here are items that we would want to have addressed with any application that they make for a permit. But we would also like Shirley to talk to Langsberg if he's working with them and just get their feedback on how they feel that's going.
Yeah, I think in my opinion, to recognize this 501c3, we need to know what is the purpose of the 501. He has to have submitted that to the IRS. We plan to do this with this money. We're gonna give it to
Yeah.
such and such charity or this kind of charity, just like the animal shelter. So our goal is to help animals find new homes. So that's basically, it's everything, you have to give them a purpose for why you're asking for this tax exemption status, so. It can be very simple, just as long as that's on there, then we can say, yeah, we can recognize your 501c3. And then the next step, like Sue said, the licensing and the permitting is different requirements. Completely. We can have whatever we want to put on there in a sense.
Maybe you should touch base with Justin and just see if there's anything else that we're missing here that he wants to know too. I'm gonna give you all this because I scribbled all over it. You can figure out what I wrote down. Anything else that she needs to add to that scribbly mess? Okay. Moving on. And if you would please put that on the agenda for the second meeting of July. Hopefully with some of that in feedback. Number 2 under new business is MML workers' compensation renewal, possible approval for that. Michigan Municipal League is MML. And Shirley has given us a packet with documents for our workers' compensation coverage renewal for the period July 1, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. We always get a dividend credit with MML for this fund. And this year, the document tells us that the dividend credit is $6,754. applied to this year's renewal premium. And that comes out of the surplus for the fund.
Did our experience modifier change at all?
Sure. I
Do you know?
I don't know why it would.
Neither do I, I'm just
Yeah.
curious, 'cause
I didn't bring last year's down, and quite honestly, we didn't approve this last year.
oh, really?
Because I.
You went rogue on us, huh?
Didn't realize, yeah, and I apologize for that, because this year I got this and I'm like, you know? maybe-
She just let it renew.
So, but no, I don't believe that anything has changed too drastically. I didn't compare it, and I apologize for that.
With the rebate, it's
Yeah,
very reasonable.
yeah, the total estimated premium minus the dividend credit I just mentioned leaves us a net estimated annual premium that's on that second sheet in there of $9,554, which is very reasonable for the amount of coverage that we're getting.
Well, even if you go to the very beginning of our rate, $18,000 for a year for
Right.
the employees we have is pretty good.
Yeah, yes, it
And then
is.
we get the
now it's-
discount for the modifier, that's why I was just curious if that had changed.
I think we've got the same number of people, so that would be one thing that might change it, but.
Usually it's if you have claims,
Mhm.
that's what really
And we
changes it.
haven't, I mean, we've had maybe a doctor's appointment or, you know,
And now we're talking someone lost an arm or
No.
that kind of thing,
Let's
is
say
what
that.
really changes your stuff. And I tell you what, I have been on work staff, no one ever wants to run this,
No.
believe me.
But this is estimated on the gross amount payroll at each, so every,
Yep.
you know, I go through and I estimate all of that or go off of what we had the year before, and then they estimate everything, so. I feel like elected officials went down, it's 18 cents per every $100, so, but those are super good.
Shoot, didn't even know we were covered. No one caught that bill joke, huh?
I don't know if we'll
Yes.
lose that hand.
Oh, I hope not.
I'm sorry, I for stubbing on something.
Wait, you know what, we skipped something, I'm sorry.
I did skip.
Okay,
I see
all right.
that now, but we'll finish
Well, you
this
have it
and then
one
go
order,
back.
the one that you
Yeah.
had in our packet, you have it one order,
It's
which
just-
Sue's following, and then this one you have a different order.
Oh, we
That's
do?
fine.
Oh.
Yeah.
I move that we approve the workers' compensation renewal for the MML
Nice.
in the amount of $9,554 for the coverage period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Second.
We have a motion by Mike, a second from Kamal. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. And yes, we'll jump back now, based on my other,
Sorry about that.
order, which is the discussion of the well abandonment on 12510 South Empire. Just a thought occurred to me after Mr. Bradley withdrew his offer to purchase, when it was made very clear to him that he would be responsible to cover any costs related to the well or septic on the site. And so he is no longer interested in purchasing, he's withdrawn his offer, doesn't want to talk about it, negotiate it, or anything else. So the property is available for purchase again. We have it listed for $7,000, clearly stating any buyer is responsible for the requirements of Shiawassee County Health Department for the on-site well and possible septic. It's not clear whether there ever was a septic on the property.
Excuse me.
So the cost to abandon properly the well that's on site We have 3 different estimates for this, and had hoped that the one from, what is that, Pier something? Yeah. We had hoped that that one was gonna be less, and until, yes, Peerless Midwest.
Yep.
Until they found out that there is a pump in that well, they had said they would do it just for the cost of the materials. But once they got the information from the county describing what is there, they said, can't do that, because we're gonna have to bring in some special equipment, pull out the pump, we're gonna need more people, it's gonna take more time. So thus, their estimate is the highest of the 30. So,
Well, do we know for sure there's still a well, still a pump in that well? Just because the county thinks there is, doesn't mean there really is.
well, until somebody takes the cap off and
And looks. and
tries to
sees.
pull it out, I guess they won't know, but assuming it's there, that's about how much it would cost. We have one estimate from J&M for $3,935, from Sharn Weber Well Drilling, Langsberg, $3,400. And they do specifically say, remove all remaining pumping equipment, so they know they've got to, pull that out. And then we have Peerless for higher than that.
Right.
Now, my thought was, if we paid for this and just got it out of the way, and then when somebody made an offer, accepted a sale price that at least covers that, plus what we were willing to take before, when we said the buyer does it, it might make people more willing to buy it if they didn't think they had to do this. People just hate the thought of having to do something with something they're buying. They want it to just be free and clear, ready to go, ready to rock and roll. But again, we don't have to. We don't have to do anything with it. It doesn't have to have anything done with it, maybe it's a better way to say that, until it changes hands.
Mhm.
How this happened in the sale before and it never happened, I don't know, because I wasn't part of it. But
It was a tax sale. It's buyer beware, sold as is.
But again, it should have been done. The county should have stepped in right then and said, buyer, you gotta do this, and they didn't. So, but anyway, that being said, it's still there, it's gonna need to have something done. We can continue to advertise it as we are for $7,000 sale price with buyer being responsible. We can think about this and see if we get anybody interested. Kevin is now ordering the new sign because we had told him to wait because we thought we had a buyer. But he was gonna go order that today. So we can wait and see. It doesn't hurt anything just to wait.
Personally, I'd be inclined to say let's wait rather than spend, $3,500 plus the sign and not know whether we'll have an offer for 2 years or 3 years or 3 months.
Is the well usable?
It might be, it hasn't been tested, it would have to be tested. Katie Pleshek, when she was still there, a couple of years ago when I talked to her, when the neighboring property was interested in buying it, she said that in order for them to use it, it would have to be tested, probably have to be flushed and treated and so on. But she also mentioned if someone with an adjoining property who already had their own well didn't want to continue to use that well, that she'd be willing to sign a special affidavit that said it didn't have to be tested. Now, she didn't say if it had to be abandoned, but, so I mean, I guess there's options, but that one sounded iffy to me, and she's not there anymore either. Casey Elliott, who's the director now, is the one I've been talking to, and he has not mentioned that at all. So is the well usable? Maybe. the water would have to be tested and figured out. But there's not room really for a septic field. And it's not known for sure if there is a septic tank or a field there now. Casey drove down and walked the property. He said, I found one spot where maybe there's a septic tank, but I'm not sure. But if somebody were doing excavating and came across a tank, they would have to pump it, crush it, fill it, and go from there. So the only thing we can do there is just say there might be a septic tank on the property. Just, again, make the buyer aware that it might be there.
How much was the original offer that we got originally?
The original offer a few years ago,
No, like
Oh,
a
the-
couple of weeks.
$4,000.
4,000? I don't know, I vote we wait too. I think it's,
I like no action on it.
because, yeah, 3,600, that, if we were to pay that amount to abandon the well, and we get the full 7,000, that means we're netting 3,600.
Well, then you're not even really netting that because you have other costs.
Yes,
You
yeah,
have closing costs, title insurance.
I don't know if it's worth it, but yeah.
It's really not worth much. So, okay, well, am I hearing everybody say, let's just let sleeping dogs lie and,
Yep.
Let's continue the course as we have, get a new
Okay.
sign, bigger sign up, and
See if it drums up any
if
interest.
it turns up anything, then we can, potentially negotiate.
We have costs that we could pass on to a potential purchaser and say, well, the abandoned well will cost about this much to seal,
yes.
and we're not gonna just seal it and give you the property. That's what we're doing with the other one.
Okay. Alrighty, so we'll watch for that new sign to come up and hopefully we'll get some interest. Surely no need to put that back on the agenda.
Okay.
We're done with that for now.
Okay.
Next on our new business is our new server.
Mhm.
This is our brains of the computer world at City Hall.
Mhm.
It's dying. Do you want to tell them about it?
I can tell 'em. So they came and moved the server from the mayor's office down here with all the other computer stuff. And it,
The reason they moved that is because the fan was getting really, really, really loud.
yeah,
And I'd have to go over to it and smack it, and then it would, and I'd smack, you know, so mentioning that to them,
Yeah.
surely, they said, why don't we just move it? So,
I didn't know, I wasn't here that day,
Yeah.
Megan told me they were here moving it, but, they emailed me last week, or I had a Zoom meeting with them, and they said that it didn't wanna come back on when they moved it down here. They were actually not sure if it was going to, so it ended up coming back on, but it is in some sad shape. Let me see what he says.
How old is that server?
It's, what, 2009, 2013? Don't know for sure. I can't tell you, I'm sorry, for sure, but it's old.
We're thinking more than 10.
More than 10,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. It is gonna stop receiving updates on January 1st of 2027. So regardless if we do this now or we wait until next year to do it, we're gonna have to update it, but right now it's in a state of any electrical blurb that we have, it could go out and not come back on. They're that worried about it. He said that right now it's receiving updates, it's going to receive updates through 2026, but it's just the condition of the machine, I guess. To replace it, it's $12,500. If it goes down and I don't know what they try to do after it, but it will be way more than $12,500 because they're gonna have to recover stuff, so, so that's just kind of the deal.
And this would be a controlled change
Yes.
as opposed to an emergent change.
Yes, and it would take 30 to 60 days they need 30 to 60 days lead time. I was gonna wait, but then I started getting nervous, and then I talked to the mayor, and then she's like, yeah, let's put it on the agenda to happen next budget cycle, because obviously that's when it would happen. And then Megan can just do her magic.
Megan, do we have money in the office? I know we have a fund that is set aside to save up for computers when we need them. Do we?
Right, we have an office equipment fund, but it does not have that kind of money in it.
Okay.
That fund was always kept at like a $0 at the end of every year. It was never building a fund balance for emergencies like this. So since I've been working here, we've been slowly increasing the rent that all departments pay to the equipment fund. I would guess that there's probably gonna be between $7,000 and $9,000 in the fund balance at the end of this year. Like, that's a very big picture.
At
I don't
the
have all June bills.
end of 2025 or at the end of next budget
The
year?
June 30.
Oh, coming right up, this
Yeah,
budget year,
yeah.
okay, all right, okay.
So there's some funds in there, but not enough for a purchase to that magnitude. And that doesn't include the fact that we have been budgeting all along to replace 1 or 2 PCs every year,
Yeah.
because they were all updated at one time in 2019.
Yeah.
So we've replaced 2 in this last year because of catastrophe. So we want to replace more coming up so that we don't end in catastrophe again. So the fund sitting in fund balance, we're going to help do that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if we're doing one, we're not doing the other unless we're funding it through like general fund balance.
And that was one thing that he also did say to me, that we are in need of updating our equipment, which we were planning on anyways, not all at one time. Obviously mine had to because it crashed. Kyle got a computer in March, so he's all set. So do have to cycle through and replace everybody's computer.
Mhm.
If everybody's computer is working fine, I think that we can work on this later in the year of 2026. And it's gonna be the same, they're gonna stop receiving updates, the computers will too. So they will have to be updated, but I feel like the server is a more important thing right now. It's just
Like it would shut
they
it
did-
down completely if that was ever.
yeah, they did the generator transfer yesterday, and Kevin was like, they're gonna do that at 11. I'm like, okay. I'm like, no, no, our server might not come back up. So, it did, thank goodness, but I made sure I emailed BlackRock first and asked them, and they're like, well, we have somebody in the area, have a problem, so.
So I have a couple questions, should we have BlackRock come back that server up? I think we have to spend the money, unfortunately, but should we back it up in case something goes down and it doesn't
It's
come
back
back
up.
on?
Yeah,
It's every day
They-
back up.
It is already backed up.
Yeah, it's on an automatic back.
Mhm,
So if it crashed tomorrow,
mhm.
you said they couldn't be able to recover everything.
I don't know, I'm not a computer.
Well,
Neither am I.
Just
Duct
like
tape and a
what
hammer
he
works
told
just
me
fine.
is that
They most likely-
If it crashes, it costs more.
Right.
Okay.
It just costs more because they have to work at getting all
Getting,
that out.
retrieving the stuff out of there.
Yeah,
Right.
But here's the thing, I am all for it, I think that's important, it's very important, but 30 to 60 days for lead time, if it crashes within 30 to 60 lead time, they are responsible for that cost, right?
I'm not sure.
That's a good question.
I don't think so, come on. I saw something in somebody's, it was a building inspector, and it said, your delay in getting your work done does not create an emergency for me.
Lack of planning on your part does not constitute
That's what it
emergency on
is,
mine.
yes, thank you.
I use that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we do have, and we talked about this at our budget meetings and so on, having adequate money in the general fund to cover the the balance of that is the case, correct? We have more than enough money there to take care of that.
I move that we approve the quote from BlackRock Technologies in the amount of $12,500 to replace the City Hall server. Replacement will occur in the 2025-2026 budget cycle.
Second.
We have a motion from Mike, seconded by Bob. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. And I would like to just tell you too, BlackRock so far is living up to their word as far as being readily available to help solve issues, because I was having a problem with receiving their weekly training module, because I send that out all the time. And when they sent me a reminder that I hadn't initiated that for me, and I did that, I had 80 of those things to do. So I'm working on doing them, getting after them. And then all of a sudden, day before yesterday, I couldn't get in anymore. So I I emailed, and Amal got right back to me like a half hour later, said, let me check on something, I'll get right back to you. He did. Within the next half hour, he said, look in your spam folder. I did, and there they are. So I mean, it was just bam, bam, and he got me all straightened out. So that was great service. I was very pleased with that. Yeah.
So now they can get the new server in 30 days, not 60.
Hopefully, yeah.
I hope so.
I think they'll try. Okay, thank you for taking care of that. Moving on to number 5 is our fourth quarter budget amendments, and that's why Megan's here to tell us all about that.
So normally we don't do fourth quarter or quarterly comparisons until after a whole quarter has completed. However, in the case of fourth quarter, if you need to make any amendments, they must be done before your fiscal year ends. You can't make changes in July and date them back to June. So with that being said, the numbers you have in front of you are as of June 11th. On my pride and joy, interest revenue update, our budget was $26,000 in interest revenue. We were at $110,700 as of May 31st. So, very exciting. So there's your new server. So the general fund as a whole is well under budget, but there are a couple departments within the general fund that are over budget. And the state requires that each department be in balance. The first one we'll talk about is elections. At no fault of Shirley's, there was a third election this year, and that required more staff time and more election equipment. We replaced the tabulator this year, which was budgeted for a capital outlay purchase, but like postage and envelopes and printing, we do get some of that back from the state. However, that doesn't show up in your expense lines. It comes late in your revenue, so your expenses are still over. So that's my first amendment request. That everywhere that I'm making a request to increase revenue in a department, we're decreasing it somewhere else. So we're not overall increasing expenses, we're actually decreasing them by $250 in the general fund. So on page 3, we need to increase elections operating supplies by $4,000. We will decrease election contract services by $3,000. We will decrease legal fees, the city attorney by $4,000. The original budget was $11,000. I believe we are at we're at $6,000 year to date. So we'll be under budget there. Street lighting kind of blew the budget out of the water this year. Those are the streets or the lights on 52, is that street lighting expense. We budgeted $38,000. We have already paid the June bill for the total for the year will be $43,735 for Consumers Energy street lights. It's also the street lights, I believe, in all the neighborhoods, right? Is that
Other
Or is it-
non-metered, the non-metered streetlights, so all the streetlights that
Yep.
aren't.
So Consumers is responsible for repairing, replacing lights on all the side streets. we're responsible for repairing and replacing the lights on 52, but all of them are paid in this $43,000 energy bill. So to help offset those expenses, we're decreasing planning commission consulting fees by $3,000. We did not have any major consulting items in this budget cycle. And the final increase for the general fund is the drain at large. I think I spoke about this at second quarter's comparison, that the drain assessment had been dwindling. I did not budget for it this year, and then boom, we got a bill. They don't send their bills till September or October. So again, that's the only line in that department, so it would have been over. In the 25-26 budget, I think I budgeted like $1,500, so that it will catch any surprises next year. The other fund that needs a couple amendments is the park fund, and that is because we received numerous donations between spring of '24 and fall of '25, a couple benches and a tree. So we took in revenue, paid it out, we're making the amendment to the budget to show those expenses. And capital outlay, I did not budget capital outlay, but this is carryover from the crowdfunding park playground project from the year before, because the rubber mulch was so far delayed. We didn't finish the build in June of '24, it wasn't done until October. So all the money was received last budget, spending it this budget. That's what those amendments are showing. Feeling very confident about all of our other funds. I would say they're all coming in within budget. Most of them well under budget and building fund balance for future projects. For the notes in the packet I provided. 3rd Street was paved, began paving this week. It'll be finished before the end of the year, but regardless, it will still be a June 25 expense. But that's not in the numbers that you see in your packet yet. Any questions for anything I did not cover? Stand out to you.
Council have any questions for Megan?
Oh, the vac truck that sold at auction that Kevin mentioned last week, we did receive that check. So those $31,000 has been deposited into the motor pool fund.
And our interest revenue? Yes, that's just wonderful.
Yes.
Yes, we're so happy about that. Any questions for Megan? Looking for a motion and
I move that we accept the fourth quarter budget amendments presented by Treasurer Megan Galbraith. I'm sorry if I butchered it.
Second.
we have a motion from Kamal, seconded by Bob. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. And let's hear it from Megan. Good job. Any other business to come before council tonight?
I have something to hand out that's regarding to what Matthew Shepherd said about the animal shelter.
Oh, okay.
My wife mostly are involved quite heavily. It's this is a wish list from the person running the shelter. We're having a drop-off day. A lot of these things are, quite large. So I'm gonna, if there's anybody in the audience, we can have one. But if I can ask you, Shirley, if you could put some of these up at the counter and make copies of them. So if anybody can donate anything, this is their drop-off date and times. It's kind of short notice.
That's this weekend.
Yep.
Mhm.
We found out about it yesterday, so.
Are they gonna model the building then? Is that
They
what
already
you
have
said?
done, they've done quite a bit on the
Because it was
inside.
in some bad shape, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
a lot of it got done, pro bono, painting and like Matthew said, whoever's building our building, or I can't think of their name. They're doing a lot of the work for cost or
Okay.
free, so, someone's doing the fencing, they mentioned, I heard it was, they're donating it all, they were red materials, so,
Nice.
things are coming together, there's, you know, it's a work in progress. We need a shelter, the county runs, and try to move forward from there. So if anybody has anything they can donate, or know people who want to donate, volunteer, they're gonna need help to run this place.
How is this different than the Shiawassee Humane Society?
Shiawassee Humane Society is their own entity, they're a nonprofit. So they had a contract with Shiawassee before, and there's a big kerfuffle, and we don't have enough time for me to just
No, that's okay.
all that. So when that contract fell apart, the county contracted with Saginaw for X dollars, and that it could take up to so many animals or dogs. They only took a portion of those because they were never had space. So our animal control officer would drive all the way over there and say, no, we can't take it. And drive all the way back.
So what do you do with that?
She found places that she held some, other people kept some. Once Jennifer got involved, almost about a year ago now, you know, we found kind of a network of rescues.
Yeah.
So it's been muddled together, but we need the shelter so we can make that better.
And and their dog that are found, and you're waiting for the owners to find them?
Only found dogs.
Only
They're
found dogs?
not, at this time anyways, they're not doing
Surrenders.
surrenders or any of that stuff. They can't. With one, they don't have the money,
Right.
they don't have the space, you just can't. So it's just like, you know, and then you need space for criminal activity. So if you get accused of animal cruelty and they have to seize the dog, they have to have a place to put the dog. It could be, and they have to keep it for a while because it's a court case. It could take a while to get through the courts. So all those, you know, there's lots of things that behooves the county to have a shelter. They're not required by law anymore to have one. We don't, but there's lots of reasons to have one. So, and the commissioners all voted unanimously to open it up, back up.
Is it cat? It's not cats.
It was supposed to be, but right now, no. As of today, there's no cats. We're working on that.
I know Oakland County's they've got it going on with their.
Sure they do. In Elton County, that you know, this is, you know, their budget is 20 times, if not 120
I'm
times
just saying,
more than ours.
as far as a model goes, then,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, we could, even on a tiny scale, what they do, because they also adopt, so it's a, you know, the shelter, but also adoption center. And, man, they have, trustees come in from the county jail and like do their time in there and take care of, the animals and what have you. They got
They
it
have a
going
good
on.
system.
Yeah. It's a good system, yeah.
Genesee County also has a very good system. The sheriff over there is very involved in animal welfare, so they do a lot.
Will they accept donations after this weekend too, you think?
Yes.
Okay, because we're not open tomorrow to put these on our desk.
No, that's fine. Yes, we're gonna, again, this was very short notice. I have more, I can tell you more, I just wanted to say it in front, on camera, that's all.
You're good.
It's not
It's
really,
okay.
that it's just me being, you know, sour grapes a little bit, so.
Fine.
Thank you, Bob, for
You're
that.
welcome.
That's great. That's great news. It is, yes, I'm glad for that. Do we have any other business that may come before council? Council observations? Kristen, Larry, come on, Mike, Mindy?
Nope.
Anybody? Shirley did say during her report that Waste Management has confirmed that we do have 6 more dumpsters that we can use this calendar year. In our contract, we originally have 12, we used 6 during the spring cleanup. We had mentioned a couple meetings ago about the possibility of doing another cleanup in the early fall. So do you want this on the agenda for the second meeting of July to discuss that and make a decision about that? Or do you want to wait till August? You know, we're getting kind of too fall when we say August, but how would you like to address that?
I'd say let's put it on in the July timeframe,
Okay.
even though we won't do it maybe till, September, late September, early October.
That would give people a little lead time.
Yep.
So Shirley, if you put that on for the agenda for the second meeting of July. A reminder that we do not meet July 3rd. So the second meeting of July will be our only July meeting. Any other public comments? And any other agenda items for the next meeting? I think we're set then. I will adjourn the meeting at 8 o'clock.